Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Levoma Shila. She is just legend. For many years now, she's been wowing audiences, not just here but abroad as well. I would even say she's one of our finest exports. And it's in many media. I think performance artist kind of brings it all together, but the written word as well. But she does it in such a special way with the special meaning. So thank you so much for blessing us and setting us in a way. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Peter Ndoro, or is it Cyril Ramaphosa? I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. Thank you so much for joining us for this very important gathering, I think. I'll introduce them just now. It's a public-private sector kind of initiative to talk about a very serious issue that affects us all, bringing us towards being a hashtag water smart nation. You know, the Department of Water and Sanitation, Coca-Cola Beverages and Operations South Africa, and Unilever Sunlight 2-in-1, I think are showing the way in which PPPs can work to address urgent and critical national issues. And water is definitely one of those. Water is something I think luckily most of us have taken for granted over time. But with climate change and with droughts, we are now starting to have new conversations, very critical conversations. And you know, when I look back in time and some of the quotations that have come through over time, in the 1700s, Thomas Fuller said, "We never know the worth of water until the well runs dry." And we're certainly feeling that now. People say that the next world wars are not going to be fought over land, it's going to be about water. That's how important this commodity is. I think Stephen Johnson, perhaps, when he was administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, said it best when he said, "Water is the lifeblood of our bodies, our economy, our nation, and our well-being." And that pretty much encapsulates the value of water. We all have different interactions with it, but throughout the whole story, water is life. And so we're starting to have new words coming through. Day zero is a talking point now. As a journalist, we counted down the days. I know that it's been pushed back to, I think, July 12. But I guess the conversation now is, we imagined water scarcity as a rural problem for many years. And now all of a sudden it's coming closer and closer to our cities where we live, and it is now starting to affect everything that we do. Beyond the air that we breathe, water is the next most valuable resource. And so we need now critically to have this conversation about dealing with this scarce resource, preserving it. And this initiative that you're going to hear about a little bit today, creating this water smart nation, is one of those steps that we can take as a collective, both in government and in the private sector and as citizens, to preserve this scarce resource. So we have a simple program this morning. In a few moments' time, I'm going to invite our special guests to share thoughts with us. And then after that, I'm going to introduce our panelists who represent the three partners in this initiative. We'll just have a little chat, and then my colleagues in the media, if you have questions for them, we'll open that to you as well. So very simple, but I think if we can all leave here today trying to get this hashtag Water Smart Nation trending instead of Peter Ndoro kills another president, that would be good. That would be good. All right, so it's my great pleasure now to welcome our special guest to do the keynote. In this centenary year of Nelson Mandela, it's great to have his first grandchild with us to speak to us. The first of her generation of Mandelas, and through her family, the Nelson Mandela Foundation, the Tembekile Mandela Foundation, the work and the legacy of one of the, I suppose, iconic fathers of our country. His work and his legacy continues. So we thank you for the work that you continue to do through those various means. Your grandfather spoke about freedom a lot, but he always said that freedom without certain things means nothing. And I'm reminded of some of his words where he said, freedom alone is not enough without light to read at night, without time or access to water to irrigate your farms. So we know for sure that at this time, this issue would be close to his heart, and something that he would say, freedom is good, but without water, it is not as valuable. So to tell us a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome social activist, Ms. Ndileka Mandela.
Thank you, Kieran. I like the fact that you have a sense of humor. I'm sure we are still, reeling from the recent cabinet reshuffle. If Peter knows Nyasha from the hip. As Labour said, that these are the hours where visions are made. And I have first to thank, Sunlight, Unilever, and Sunlight for having this vision of active citizen service and creating a community that preserves water. This is certainly quite significant in the year of the centenary of Granddad. Specifically, as Peter has said that Granddad, with issues that involve community, was very passionate about. He would lament to us a lot of the times about the suffering of people in the rural area. I'm a rural girl. I grew up in the dusty town of Coca-Cola, and I know how it is not to have clean water. Fortunately for me growing up, my grandmother had a lot of water tanks where we collect water rain, and when there was no water, we use that rain. But now climate change is upon us. Peter said succinctly, the next wars are going to be fought over water because it's becoming a scarce resource. Global warming is also upon us. Drinking water is becoming a scarce resource. Coupled with that, Cape Town was a big wake-up call, for me specifically, because as Peter had said, we always thought that scarce water resource is something from the rural areas, where people travel long distances to get water. Sadly, 24 years into our democracy, we still have that problem. And coupled with that problem, it is not even safe for women to walk those long distances to get the water. Why are we in this space? Accountability is one of them. Our water infrastructure has not been upgraded for the past 24 years. Recently, if you live in the Sandton Morningside area, last year we didn't have water for 3 days. Why? Because the water pipe that burst was so deep in the earth where it's unstable, it was rusty. It took them 3 days to repair it because the soil conditions were unstable. That talks to the lack of refurbishment and also lack of maintenance in water resources. Lack of replacing jobs. When I was looking at what has caused us to be in this crisis is also people that are in the civil bulk water management system have not been replaced. So that has created a vacuum. So it is up to us. It's well and good to say, okay, government is not doing this, government is not doing this. What are we as citizens doing to preserve water? Which is why this program by Water and Sanitation, Unilever, APP is quite important because citizens have also got to participate. How am I as Ndileka contributing to preserve water? Am I going to walk past when I see a drinking tap? Because that every drop of water counts. And we take water very much for granted. People will take baths, and we don't think until there's day zero. We never had a day. I mean, my daughter is in Cape Town. I'm worried all the time that there's, the scarcity of water. Not only that, our bodies as such are 70% water. A person can live without food, but you can't live without water. That just goes to show you how important water is to all of us. Not only that, the scarcity of water also brings about, I'm a nurse by profession, I'm an ICU nurse, it brings about waterborne diseases. Recently, here in Joburg, we had a breakdown of listeriosis, which is, it goes back to scarce resource of water, not being able to wash vegetables, food, because it's actually, excrement that's contaminated with food. It goes back to water. So most diseases are waterborne diseases, and they are transmitted through the lack of water. So it is quite important to be active citizens and be able to preserve water. Climate change, I also talked about. Water wastage is also another resource. It is also another cause of scarcity of water. Notwithstanding that South Africa as such is a scarce water country, to begin with, not let alone climate change, let alone no rainfall. We are a landlocked country which has scarce resources. And to be able, yes, we are surrounded by two oceans, the Indian and the Atlantic Ocean, but to desalinate water is quite expensive. And currently the country doesn't even have the resources to do that. So it is left upon us to make sure that if you take a shower, connect it to the bucket and use that shower, that water to irrigate your garden. Recycling water. We have got to recycle water, and we always be cognizant. A lot of the times, most of the time, we do it without thinking. You run the tap before you get hot water, even in a shower. Why not, when you're running that tap, collect the water that you're running and make sure that you are able to reuse it. So there's various ways that us as citizens that we can be able to preserve water and participate, and not only leave it to government. Yes, there are cheap waters, bio means of preserving water and making sure that the water that people wash with is collected, purified, and used for other things. So we have got to be involved, hold hands, each and everyone. I pledge as myself to make sure that in my home or wherever I go, if I see a dripping tap, you go and close it. It's easy to say, no, it's not my home, but it will impact on you at the end of the day. And also to take showers and take, a bath. And if you have to take a shower, you're running water, collect it. So I really commend Unilever and Sunlight of going through this drive. And I know there's been a lot of hashtag save water. It needs to be a buzzword. As Peter said, that instead of talking about frivolities and people's mistakes, let us trend about things that will impact for generations to come. Because if we don't preserve water today, what are we exposing our future children to? I mean, I'm a grandmother right now. My granddaughter is 10 years old today. What am I saying to her? How is she going to survive 20 years down the line if I don't preserve water today? So the onus is upon even me. And I know that, with granddad, it will be something that, he would also lament how when he went to the Eastern Cape, there were no trees, forgetting that actually to have trees, we have got to water those trees, and now the more and more we don't have water, the more we won't have trees, and trees are the ones that actually collect the rain. So it becomes a vicious cycle that we need to break at some point to say that let's preserve water so that we can have more trees. More trees collect, they attract more rain, and so on and so forth it goes. So I really, really commend Unilever and Sanitation for coming up with the Department of Water, for coming up with this initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much indeed. And I think again pointing to the same things that it's an urgent and critical issue that we need to deal with. And sadly, some of it is something that we created ourselves. So self-engineered a part of the problem, so we can fix that. But there are other challenges. Climate change, we have to adapt. We're a water-scarce country. So as you said, what can we do? What questions can we ask ourselves as citizens to help manage the situation? Because clearly government can't do it on its own. citizens and companies must contribute to this. Well, let's have this conversation and just see what we can do, how we can spread the word, how companies can behave to deal with this issue. To join me with this conversation, I'd like to call the following people to come up to the front and sit with me on the panel. Justine Agnew, Sunlight 2-in-1, Brand Manager. Big hand for Justine. Sputnik Ratal, Director, Media Liaison Department of Water and Sanitation. Thank you very much indeed. You've got a new minister, haven't you? Yes. And Wendy Talamure, there we go, who's Head of Corporate Communications and Reputation for Coca-Cola Beverages. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So has everybody got a microphone? Okay, brilliant. So what I'd like to do before we start talking about this initiative and this partnership, there are various other organizations that are kind of joining in the party, and you'll see over time the different initiatives that people are taking. And one grouping is Operation South Africa, and a good friend of mine, Yusuf Abrabji, is in this next video that we're going to